Hiya, and welcome back to Jamie's Wee Podcast. On today's episode, I speak to my friend Jace about how he utilised fasting to improve and maintain his mental and physical health. After reaching some personal goals, Jace realised that his story was powerful and that it was one that he wanted to share. Through the power of Instagram and with proven results, Jace decided to start his own fasting programme, which anyone in the world could sign up and join. As someone who has suffered from weight and personal issues, Jace is the authority to talk through everything that I wanted to know about fasting. If fasting is something that you're interested in, then trust me, this is an episode not to be missed. As always, please show some love by hitting like and subscribe on whatever channel you find this podcast on, and all reviews and comments, good or bad, are very welcome. Also, if you want to show some financial support for this podcast, then please check out www.patreon.com/Jamie's Wee Podcast. Other than that, I hope you're all happy and healthy, and as always, thank you very much for taking the time to listen. Much love.
Yeah.
It's a great intro. Yeah. There you go. I'll give you that. You comfy?
Yeah.
Good to go?
I got my beard for a while. So
there you go. You looking good?
Am I uncentered now? Are we good?
You look alright.
Alright.
You look better than me, that's for sure.
Well, that's not hard.
Listen, it's not often that I concede to being the second best looking guy in a podcast, but for this one, I'll make an exception.
Thank you so much. Where's the other guy? I'm confused.
He's over there. It's Taylor. I'm looking at Taylor and I'm not looking at you.
Yeah, is there another guy coming to join I don't know about? This is interesting.
Thanks for having me around, man, to your villa, which is a very hot and very fucking humid day here.
It is a warm day. Luckily, we have like what you guys can't see off screen or tell by the audio is that we have like 6 portable fans.
Industrial sized fans blasting us with cool air.
Yeah, I feel like Beyonce right now. And
you definitely don't sound like Beyonce, that's for sure.
Well, you don't. I think I've always been considered myself the next Beyonce.
Right, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I'll need to test that out after a whiskey sometime, I think.
Oh, we've done many spouts of karaoke. I've actually been surprised at your voice because you've got the sweet accent, and then you hit the mic and you're just an angel.
I'm not as good as your Backstreet Boys, but I give it my best.
It's hard to mess up Backstreet Boys. So
now we were talking about whiskey and partying because we've done plenty of that, especially together. We're obviously to talk about fasting, intermittent fasting, because this is your not just your business but your lifestyle. Now, you were once and probably still are considered a party boy here in Canggu. Everyone knows you as a man that loves to party. But recently, I'd say in the last year, I've known you for about 3 years, but recently I'd say in the last year or so, you've kind of transformed yourself into this man who is very focused on fitness, nutrition, and getting the best out of your body. Now, was there a specific moment or a specific night out, a drink, a kebab, which caused this this change in your lifestyle and who you are?
Well, first off, I want to address those late night kebabs that we used to have were delicious, probably still are delicious. They're not around anymore, but yeah, that was some good times. No, I still enjoy a good party. Like I will say that I had a mindset shift to where I place my priorities. And before, I think people, they get comfortable settling into these roles that people see them as or what they feel comfortable in. And for me, I was always the guy that if any of my friends were like, oh, let's go out, let's hit up Jace. It didn't matter what night of the week I was going out. I was gonna party. I was gonna have a good time. I liked the fact that I was known for something. I just didn't realize what that impact was having on me, my health, and kind of the goals that I wanted for my life, where I was gonna go. So I think a couple years ago I started losing weight, and that helped. And then once kind of this whole COVID lockdown situation happened, I had already been kind of setting myself a little bit on the path, and it kind of forced into me, like bars were closed, shops were closed, everything was closed. And I just decided that I was going to deep dive into something, and what that deep dive was intermittent fasting. So I took every day to learn everything that I could on a cellular side, on a cognitive side, on the nutrition side, just so I could kind of figure out exactly how that would work for my body. And then it's spawned into this amazing thing that I've been able to be a part of.
That's cool, man. Now, I remember you shared a picture online I think it was a couple of months ago, and it was a picture of you in, I think it was the Philippines. And you looked a little less in shape than you are now. I mean, you didn't look overweight or anything like that. Not me. I mean, I'd be happy with the before Jace, you know. I'd be happy with that picture. But you described yourself, I remember in your story, as unhappy. Would you put that as a moment of maybe seeing that picture back at one point as a defining point? And how would you consider that guy back then? Was he unhappy, and how would you describe him from the person you are now, looking back at that guy?
You know, it's crazy. It's actually, I talk about this with people all the time, is that I really didn't, at that point of my life, so just so you guys know, it was about 60 pounds ago, the picture that he's talking about. It was about 60 pounds, which is about 20 to 25, I think it's 25 kilos ago. And
well, I work in stones and pounds, and there's about, and everyone finds this fascinating because apparently Americans have no idea that stones and pounds are a thing.
I have no
but
idea.
There's 14 pounds in a stone, so you lost 60 pounds?
So that's 4 stones?
Let's just go with 4 stone. That's quite maths.
Yeah, it's a little more than 4 stones.
That is a lot of weight, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, so just to give you reference, that was about 60 pounds or 4 stones ago. And what's crazy is during that time, I didn't realize. I felt fairly happy. I felt fairly good about myself. Of course, I wasn't happy with myself whenever I looked in the mirror, all of that. But as far as like being happy, I mean, I was traveling the world. I was doing things that other people, I think knowing that other people were kind of jealous of this travel life that I was living, it almost helped me feel better about being overweight or being a little unhealthy, even though I wasn't fully happy with myself. I knew that I could be better and that I should be better. It is something that is like, now looking at myself now, and compared to what I was, the physical transformation was huge, but the mental transformation that it took to get to this point, to where I was even ready to get down this path and to change not only my eating habits, but like you said, my party habits, the way that people look at me, and to say like, this is who I am ready to be, and then to take now this business with a service mindset. Yep. I mean, I think that has been huge, because it's so much more fulfilling. I mean, I had some great stories. We still have great stories of nights out.
We do.
And I continue to do that. I just had a crazy Halloween a couple days ago. Enjoyed the hell out of it. But it is now, that is the celebration. That is the fun, the way it should be. And my life is fulfilled in other ways, where before my life was fulfilled with food. Right. It was fulfilled with this type of like party atmosphere.
Yeah, man. That makes a lot of sense. Now, we have the keto diet. We have the Atkins diet, Herbalife, Juice Plus. I could go on and on, but what made you set up for intermittent fasting? Did you have a experience with this before, or is this something you stumbled upon, or what was it about intermittent fasting that became your thing?
To be honest, I was just lazy.
Okay.
I will be completely honest. I was lazy. Intermittent fasting is something, and it's simple. Keto, Mediterranean diets, counting macros. I mean, all that shit for me felt like homework almost. I mean, counting macros, you literally are calculating your protein, carbohydrate, and fat content for the day and saying, this is what's going to be optimal for my goals. And whenever I looked at intermittent fasting, it was binary. It was eat or don't eat. I had to see what time of the day it was, and I could either eat or not eat. And that was like, I was like, hold on, people do this and they can lose weight?
Sign me up.
I was like, that all I have to do is either eat or not eat. I was like, that is simple. And a lot of times simplicity is something that works for people, because if you overcomplicate things, if you make it so it doesn't, it's not something that you can add into your lifestyle every day, then it's going to be something that even if they can do it short term, it's not going to be sustainable. And I knew once I decided to make that switch, I wanted to find something I could do sustainably. And the more I learned about fasting after I started doing it, the more I fell in love with it from a, not just weight loss side, but from a general overall health, mental, physical, everything side that has been the reason that I've stuck with it and continued down that path.
Okay.
So, but honestly, intermittent fasting, it's not a diet. Keto and all those things are diets. Intermittent fasting is a timed eating schedule. A diet would be like if you add keto to intermittent fasting. Yeah, it's just it is similar. People consider it in the same realm as dieting, but and it is more optimal, of course, if you eat certain foods during those eating windows. But just in general, it is just a timing schedule that's like natural with your kind of circadian rhythm that humans have developed over time.
Okay, interesting. So how easy or hard was it in the beginning to implement the changes, or did you find it was quite simple because it is very binary, as you explained?
I would say, it honestly, it took me, and I tell this to my clients now, it takes 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days, because for a lot of people that, let's say you eat breakfast every morning, or you have late night snacks every night. There's a lot of people that do that. I was especially a late night snacker or late night drinker even, followed by late night snacks.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that just don't think that, like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can skip breakfast. I don't know if this is something that I'm going to be able to do if that's the schedule that you're doing, or I don't know if I can go 24 hours without eating. And it's really after you do it for 7 to 10 days, your body becomes adjusted. It adapts very, very quickly, which is what I noticed. And I've been worried. My parents were a prime example. I started working on my parents probably 3-4 months ago, and my mom was like, oh, there's no way. And they did their first 24-hour fast like 2-3 weeks ago. They do right now 15 to 16 hours every day, a window of eating, and then I'm trying to get them to implement one 24-hour fast per week. And she went from having to start at 12 hours to 13, working their way up, and now she's like, oh yeah, the other day I went 18, didn't even realize, we just got busy. And I'm like, it's amazing once you have that control and you're just not eating rhythmically because you're used to eating at a certain time, you can really change that kind of relationship with food, where it's not just eating because you're like, well, this is what time I eat. Yep. It's like, am I hungry? Yep. Should I eat? Does my body need food? Am I fueling it for something? So for me, long answer, it was fairly easy. And for most people, I find intermittent fasting is one of the easier diets to stick to once you get past that first week. If you can go a week to 2 weeks, it's
becomes second nature.
Yeah, it's second nature. It is literally second nature. Like, as a human, evolutionary speaking, it is second nature. It is. People back in the day weren't eating 3 meals a day.
Yeah. And a snack at night.
And a snack at night, and
and a kebab after a night out.
That way, we already talked about those kebabs. You're gonna make me hungry.
I am starving.
Are you?
Just think about the kebabs.
Yeah, I'm currently 22 hours fasted, so I'm.
You must be hungry.
No, not at all.
No. Controlled.
Yeah, it's good. No
discipline.
Not even discipline. I'm telling you, But I normally, it's not every day that I do this, but I do once a week. I do either a 24 or a 36 to 40 hour fast.
I was going to ask that next. Like, what does a normal week to you look like in terms of fasting? We've spoke about fasting now, but like in its simplistic form, you've said 12 hours, 16 hours. Like, what does that mean? If someone was like, someone knew nothing about fasting, what does it mean? You've got like 16-8, 12-12, that kind of stuff. So
there's multiple different types of what they call like protocols or fasting schedules that basically kind of mimic your circadian rhythm, which circadian rhythm basically is eating when the sun is up, eat, and then stop eating when the sun is down. And so people they started testing these windows on like a scientific level in mice and things like that, and they found that they were able to extend the lifespan and to lower a ton of like biological factors in mice. So the most common that people are doing now is 16-8 on the lower end, and then the most popularized studied is what they call 5-2, which is where 5 days you eat just like normal, and then 2 days a week you actually do a 24-hour fast, only eating up to like 500 calories on those days at once you hit that 22 to 24 hour mark.
Okay.
So those are two of the most popular. There's probably like 6 different protocols ranging from, so 16-8 would be eating in an 8-hour window, and then so fasting for 16 hours. So for example, you stop eating at 8 p.m., you start eating again at noon.
Yeah.
Like that would be a normal fasting protocol that people would do. But there's 18-6, 24. I mean, there's OMAD, which is 1 meal a day.
Right.
There's a bunch of crazy ones that people continue to do. There's alternate day, which is every other day fasting. And a lot of them are for different body types.
I was going to say, so there probably is a different fast for every person, because everyone is different. Everyone reacts different to eating schedules, types of foods, fasting, all that kind of stuff. So there really is something for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's the cool thing is that, so like you asked me my weekly schedule. So I actually when I started losing weight, I lost my first probably roughly 2 stones, a little less than 2 stones, just by doing 16-8. 16-8, well, I was doing like 16 or 18 hour fast per day, and then I made sure I got 10,000 steps 5 days a week. But I had enough body fat on me that I was able to lose weight. Now it was slow. It was over probably like 8 months, a year, and my clients now that I'm kind of showing them the foods to eat during and kind of how to time the system with their workouts, then it becomes something that they can lose that same amount of weight in a much shorter time span. Yeah. But I started 16-8. I still do 16-8 probably 3 days a week. 2 days a week, I'll go about 18 hour fast, 18-6, and then 1 day a week I do my 24.
Okay.
And then, of course, I give myself 1 day on the weekends to where I probably only do about 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah. Well, I can vouch for the 16-8. I started doing that like unofficially, I think, around maybe January, February, around the same time as the virus started to kick in. Much like you started to look inward at your fitness. Everyone was deviating from their travels and started to do like fitness videos on their Instagram because that was the content you could produce at the time. So everyone started to get the fitness bug. So unofficially, I started doing 16-8. But again, I think it was more just laziness and getting up a little later. So I was having breakfast around, 12, 1 o'clock, and then I was having my last meal around 7, 8 o'clock. So again, it wasn't regimented. That was just my daily routine. And at the same time, I was doing 5K, whether it was running, jogging, walking. I was doing a 5K a day and 100 push-ups a day. And I lost a ton of weight. So the thing that always appealed to me about intermittent fasting was the fact that you could really eat whatever you want between, obviously, not during the fasting period, the 16 hour or whatever, or the 16 or the 12 hours, but during that 8 hour window or the 4 hour window, I could still eat my burgers, I could still eat my kebabs, I could eat whatever I want. Is that true? Is that necessarily true?
Yeah, I mean, when you kind of look at overall intermittent fasting, yes, it is true. The benefit of intermittent fasting, eating in that smaller window, is that a lot of studies do show that you can still create a calorie deficit. So imagine this, like if you're eating every day, what intermittent fasting, especially 16-8, is going to do is going to create, even if you're eating just like you normally would before you were dieting, it's going to create a calorie deficit. So calories in, calories out. If you're burning or if you're eating less calories, you should, in theory, you should be losing weight via calorie deficit if your body's in a calorie deficit. So if you're eating in a smaller window, the average person eats 300, 500 calories less per day just by eating in a smaller window. Because let's say you're eating 500 calories less per day. That's going to equal 1 pound per week of weight loss just via calorie deficit. So you can pretty much eat whatever. The one thing that I always caution people, and there are some new studies coming out showing, is that you really need to make sure that you're watching after your protein intake. And you don't have to be a person who counts calories a ton. Just be very cognizant of it, because people do tend, when they eat less food, to not get all of their nutrients. And protein has been the one thing that studies continue to show is that people will and can lose muscle mass by eating less, of course, because they're not getting enough protein intake. And if you're losing muscle, of course, nobody wants to lose muscle, but if you're losing muscle, then you're actually losing that thermogenic effect that muscle has, because muscle requires calories to, like, it actually burns calories for you. The more muscle you have, the more your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure, the more calories you can have by more muscle mass you have. Okay. Just because you'll be burning more. So you can eat whatever, just make sure that you get enough protein in.
Just be conscious of your nutrients.
Just be conscious. But honestly, you can eat whatever. There are more and less optimal ways to eat while intermittent fasting. to get the most benefit.
Yeah.
But overall, if you, just like you said, you ate whatever, I ate whatever, and I still lost weight, I could do it more optimally, and so could you. And those are the things that, like, if you're okay with taking a year to lose a bunch of weight, which a lot of people say, hey, it's a lifestyle. Like, this is something I can be happy doing, and I can eat whatever and still lose weight. That's the amazing thing about intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So
what about nights out? Because obviously they're still very much a part of your life. You can take Jace out of the nights out, but you can't take the nights out of Jace, you know what I mean? So obviously they have changed in the way that you obviously drink and eat on a night out, because I'm assuming that you'll finish eating around, 8 o'clock, something like that, if you are fasting, or if you're doing a 24-hour fast, then you may not even be eating or drinking at all. So how does a night out look for you now? Because obviously after Old Man's a sandbar, there's no King Burger or no kebab shop or whatever. So is there a difference in your nights out now that you noticed?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There is. I talked about this on my Instagram, because I'll give occasional tips out for kind of a, best tips for success as far as intermittent fasting goes. And I do get that question a lot, especially from the people that are taking my 28-day challenge, is that people are curious. They don't want to not be social. They don't want to not go out. It is just kind of a mindset shift. For me, I've said, okay, I will go out and have a late night if it's a special occasion. But going out, and I go out anyway, and I'll go out and I dance. I love to dance, but I always, if I'm going out on the weekend, I cut off my alcohol. I order my last drink at 10:30, or I order my last drink at 10. I try to finish by 10:30, 11 at the latest, and then I'll at least make sure I hit 14 hours the next day. It's just a discipline thing for me that I'm like, okay, if I stop at 10, then I know for a fact that I can go until 2 the next day.
Yeah. So it's just a shift in discipline, basically.
Yeah, it was a shift in discipline. And to be honest, I would take a couple shots at like 9:30, 10.
That will see you through.
And that'll see me through. And then I'll just order vodka soda and lime. Or not vodka soda. I'll order soda water and lime.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I still stay out. I'm usually out still till 12:30, 1 o'clock. I still dance. I still have a good time. Nobody ever. I think I thought that if I stopped drinking later, that people would feel differently about me, or that I wasn't having as much fun as I used to. Yes, I've had zero of that. Even when I first started and I was still a little bit overweight, whatever, I was just like, oh, no, it's cool. Somebody would be like, you want me to buy you a shot? I'm like, no, it's cool. I'm just going to get a drink. And then I would order my soda water and lime, and no one has said anything.
Yeah.
In the probably 8 months that I've implemented this, it has been something that I went from being nervous to change my entire like how I was when I was out, to being extremely confident in the fact, and only getting more confident of being like, no, it's cool. I'm not gonna drink past 10.
That's powerful, man.
Dude, it was such a power shift. It was
taking back control.
It was absolutely, it was a beautiful thing for me to realize, because after you do it like twice. I remember the first time I turned down a free drink, which I never used to. I turned down a free drink, and I was like, and they're like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, it was no big deal. I was like, I'm not drinking anymore tonight. I was like, I decided I wasn't gonna drink after 10:30, and they were like, okay. Dude, on my drive home at like 1 that night, the whole way home, I was just smiling ear to ear. I was smiling ear to ear, and I was like, oh, it is just like, it was like, with great power becomes great. With great power becomes great responsibility type thing. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I am so mighty.
That's cool, man.
Dude, it was a really cool feeling. And that type of thing is like what I try to like tell these clients of mine. I'm like, you have no idea how powerful you are until you feel it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that empowerment. And I was like, we have these thoughts that like our friends and things like that that they're really gonna give a shit if we, I'm not gonna, like everybody else is getting dessert and you don't get dessert. And you think they're like, oh, they're gonna judge me, or like, they do not give a shit.
Especially when they're drunk.
Especially drunk. If I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna. No, it's cool. I already feel really good. I'm gonna stop drinking. I'm gonna keep dancing. If you do have friends that are judging you for that, get new friends.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But other friends are like, oh, okay, cool. and they'll keep drinking and they keep
They'll
partying.
probably be happy because they're not having to spend more money on alcohol.
Exactly.
So everyone wins. You're
Dude.
saving money, they're saving money.
It's amazing. And I still, of course, again, if I'm having a celebration like Halloween, I drink till like 11:30, something like that. But it is, and I was out till 2 or 3, but it is a cool feeling to know that, like, and it makes those moments more special when you do go out.
Yeah.
It makes them something, or when you go out and you do have a big night, it makes that more special. It also makes the morning after a little more painful, but it does make those moments more special versus just continuing to do that.
For sure, man. So it's obviously been, by talking about this empowerment, it's really been beneficial to your own mental health. How important has your mental health benefited? Let's say how much has your mental health benefited from intermittent fasting, do you think?
You know, I don't know specifically due to intermittent fasting. No,
do you think it's or maybe a combination of fasting, exercise?
I think it's been there's definitely correlation. I don't know if it's direct correlation from intermittent fasting. I think that fasting, it provides you something mentally, because when you take control of, let's say for that drinking situation, without intermittent fasting, I wouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. Same thing with food. When you take back that power that, you know, you're like, oh, am I hungry? And then you're like, no, I'm not. And you make that decision instead of letting your body control you or letting your mind control you, and you take the reins. Now you're back in the driver's seat. That is huge.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah, and so once you make one good decision, you get this dopamine spike, and you just start rolling, and this momentum keeps going. So I think that for me, intermittent fasting was that first domino of taking this power back for myself, saying that I have control of what I eat and my relationship with food.
Yeah.
I have control of if I'm going to drink and when I'm going to drink and what I'm going to drink. Yeah. And that then led to other positive decisions. Yeah. That led to then me wanting to work on myself on a mental standpoint, outside of just physically. I think the big thing that, especially on Instagram, people can see the transformations that you put there. And that's what gets all the, the woos and stuff. I don't. Is woos a thing?
Could be woos. Some call it likes. You want to call it woos.
Yeah, but it gets the transformation gets the woos or the likes, as far as the physical transformation. But the mental transformation for me has been huge. I think just working. I mean, we've talked about it and just going out to lunch, but I think just this transformation that I've had mentally has been a far greater experience, and has nothing to do with just stopping drinking at night, just doing this. It's just this overall conscious awareness, whatever you want to call it.
Self-discipline, routine, I can imagine as well.
Yeah, and it creates
purpose.
It creates this ongoing effect that has had such a positive benefit, to my life, that I'm very lucky that intermittent fasting got me to this standpoint. It does help as far as for cognitive and keeping your head clear and all that, but as far as for like mental health, I mean, it led me to a path that has been something that if I could do it again, I would do it 10 times over and better and faster, and I've really been in love with the process.
Now, those are the benefits. Surely there has to be some cons to intermittent fasting. Is there any known cons?
I do
or
feel
risks?
I feel sometimes when I talk about intermittent fasting, it's like those cheesy sales commercials that are they're like you get this and would you believe it, this too. Yeah, it does sound like that whenever you're just like, okay, you get all these benefits. As far as for cons, I mean, there are some cons with intermittent fasting. I mean, there's not a lot, especially. So anytime you're looking at a diet, it's pretty much the same con that you can look at for any diet. Even though intermittent fasting technically isn't a diet, but it's the same type concept that you can get, that people can get obsessed. People can get obsessed. There can be eating disorders that come from this, just like any other type of weight loss that people might be going through a transformation. They can get obsessed with kind of that outside appearance and get this kind of body dysmorphia. They can stop enjoying food. They can start only looking at food as, like me. It's not that I'm cutting out alcohol. It's that I am choosing to use it as a celebration. Same with like desserts and things of that nature. I love dessert, and I still enjoy dessert and all of that. But I'm not going to have just a massive blowout on dessert and cookies and ice cream, unless there's a celebration or something. But people can go down the wrong path of that with then choosing to not enjoy things, not enjoy their life anymore, and just become so obsessed with fasting or with whatever diet they're doing.
Have you ever felt yourself getting close to these cons? Body dysmorphia, looking at food in a different way or alcohol in a different way, or have you had to pull yourself back from that at any point?
Yeah, I was just having, did we talk about this? I just had this conversation with my roommates like probably 3 weeks ago that I had gotten down. I was around like 8% body fat, which is fairly low, and like fairly low.
Yeah.
And I was scheduled to, because once a week I do my 24-hour fast or my 36 to 40-hour fast, depending on the week. And I was scheduled to do a 36-hour fast, and I know the cognitive benefits that come from that. And I wanted to get that kind of cellular benefit, the rejuvenation, the mental clarity that comes from this. But I was looking at my body, and I was thinking, at what point do I need to pull back? Like, I don't want to continue losing body fat. Like, where do I find the benefits of this on a cellular cognitive level, and how do I continue that into like the life? Because I didn't want to go down a path of where I became obsessed, or where that I was just looking in the mirror to see what I was looking at. And I think that it does become like a new drug. It becomes addictive to see the results. And so I made sure I went ahead, and that fast I was supposed to do for 36, I ended up doing 22 hours. We went out, me and my roommates went out for dinner, and I was like, this is good. I was like, I need to know that, because then it's almost like I'm giving fasting the power.
Yeah, you went from one extreme to the other.
I went from one extreme to the other, and I was like, I needed to find this middle ground, and I accomplished, the weight loss goal that I was looking for, and now I really need to continue to work on myself. And but last con of intermittent fasting that I will say, I mentioned it briefly earlier, is the protein intake. Is people sometimes do struggle, besides for the whole like getting addicted to the fasting or getting addicted to any diet that anybody could do. With intermittent fasting specifically, if you're not getting enough protein, you can lose muscle mass. So that is the thing. People need to add some sort of physical activity in their life. They need to have some sort of physical activity, and they need to make sure that they're doing protein. Okay. Protein doesn't just mean chicken, beef, whatever. Vegan proteins, you've got legume. Did you say legume? Legume.
You've lost me. I don't know what that is. It's obviously very healthy.
Soy. There's like soy proteins and different things. So, but it is protein shakes. They've got soy protein shakes and things, vegan protein shakes. But if you aren't getting enough protein, you can lose muscle mass. Whereas other diets, you may be eating more protein and losing weight in a different way. Yeah. And so you don't have to worry about muscle mass as much. This is something that you have to be
very conscious
of. And this is only coming out within like the past probably couple months, as far as for studies showing how this works with these kind of lower end intermittent fasting schedules, like the 16-8, 18. Mm-hmm. Whenever you get into extended fasting, 24, 36 hours, anytime into those type of protocols or schedules, then you get into ketosis more often than not, which is where your body is using body fat for energy versus using glucose. So the whole point of intermittent fasting is to not only shorten your time window, but is to hopefully get this ketone benefit, which is where your body has two ways to create energy. You've got like carbohydrates that go in, and your pancreas creates glucose, and then your body uses glucose and ATP as far as for energy to fuel your body. Or a lot of us have enough body fat on us. A lot of
You pointed at me there.
a lot of us.
I've got 8% body fat in each love handle. So
there it is.
16% right there.
That's sexy though. Those are sexy. You don't want to lose those. So
They ain't going anywhere.
we all, a lot of us do have. I mean, even myself, still, even at 9% body fat or whatever it's close to now, we have enough fat that once we use the ketone, or once we use that glucose, we can actually utilize our fat cells for energy. And so our fat cells create ketones. And so we get into this process called ketosis, where our body starts utilizing that for energy. And that's kind of like the whole point that we're trying to do. And so I don't remember how we got here. I just started explaining what
I love it, man.
Ketosis is.
You went down a wormhole, but I love it.
Yeah, well,
What you're doing is you're giving me some authority here.
Oh.
You're a very authoritative voice within this intermittent fasting niche, and that has seen you turn your kind of personal success into a business. And now you've got this intermittent fasting challenge. You've touched on it briefly about your business and your clients. But this is like a new venture for you. So how is that going?
It was not supposed to be a new venture. That's what's crazy is that. So I first off, I started helping friends that were asking me like, how did I lose the weight? I mean, if you think about it, all of a sudden, if you lose, if you were to lose 2 or 3 stone, your friends would be like, okay, Jamie, and you put on some muscle and all that. Like people
Tell
would be
me
like,
your secrets.
be like, what is your secret? That's basically what happened. My friends were like, okay, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Tell us how. And so I started helping my friends out, just telling them what I was doing, tell them like the best practices of what I learned. And then, of course, I turned to social media. And I said, hey, I've been helping some friends and family lose weight and I've had some success. If there's anybody who's interested in like learning more about it, I'm going to do like a kind of a 30-day challenge, whatever. And I thought I'd maybe have 15, 20 people message me, and immediately within 24 hours had like over 150 people message me. And I was like,
that's insane.
I was like, first off, I was blown away. Yeah. I was extremely honored that people even considered like wanting me to give them any information. Yeah. And the fact that many people were interested. And so I then was like, okay, this could be something that, one, I can make an impact on a lot more people, like a lot more lives than I thought. And two, this could be something that could be a business for me, that not only can I help people, but the time that I'm putting in, I'm not just giving of myself without getting anything back. And so it was then all of a sudden just like, okay, I've got 4 days. Let me all of a sudden create this business model and how it would work, and then I'll see if people are interested. Yeah. And then since then, I've been very lucky. I've done a couple rounds of my fasting challenge, and I've had a lot of success as far as not only people just interested in the challenge, but people that are doing the challenge having success doing it.
Who's been your biggest success story so far?
Ooh.
Is there one that sticks out?
I would say my first round was pretty cool, because my first round, I mean, I've had multiple people. I just had a message this morning from a girl that we're 10 days into it, and she's lost 3 kilos, which is like 7 pounds or half a stone.
Half a stone, yeah.
Half a stone in like 10 days.
Wow.
But it had nothing to do with how much weight she's lost, and everything to do with the fact, she said for the last 8 years that she's only been seeing the scale go up. And so she was just like, it's just amazing. She goes, I don't care how much weight I've lost, whatever. She's like, it's just amazing to see the scale going the other way.
Shifting momentum, going the other way, yeah.
And I read that text and I was like, oh, dude, it's such a good feeling.
So rewarding.
So the fact that this has been able to be something that makes me have this feeling daily, and that I can help people and also create some sort of business model around it has been an amazing thing. And it is something that has, I would say, inspired my life probably just as much as the people that I've been able to help so far. So it's been cool. Back to your question, the 2 people that I would say I think of first off, number 1, my dad.
I was going to say, I remember you mentioned your dad. Your dad got involved.
My dad got involved. He was
good, man.
Yeah, before I even started the whole model of the challenge, I helped him for like 2 months before I started this, and then he was I I'll send you some pictures
Yeah.
so you can have them. But I mean, I think he's probably right around 2 stones right
Wow.
now. 2 stones.
Huge.
He's dropped 4 belt sizes, and he's just loving it. I had some clothes like back at the house that I had left back home with my family. And my dad's like, it's cool to hear him be like, yeah, I'm wearing some of your old clothes now. He's like, yeah, I needed some new pants. And it's just the confidence that I can tell through the phone that, and my mom has also lost a good amount of weight as well. So it's been great to be able to see that transformation and be able to be a part of that with them, for my dad to be able to lose 25, 30 pounds. As far as people actually doing the challenge, the first group lost 8 point something pounds on average. With I had multiple people that lost close to 15 pounds, which is
Over
1
a stone.
stone
Yeah,
in
yeah.
28 days.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so we'll see how they keep going. I think the most right now, one of the guys from my first challenge, he lost 15 pounds during the 28 days, and he's continued fasting. I stay in touch with him. He still asks me questions. Anybody who does the challenge is always in the Facebook group for support and motivation after they're done. And I think he's probably like 25 pounds now down, and that's in 2 months. I mean, it's a 2.5 months. It's been an incredible thing to be able to just be a part of somebody else's journey.
Yeah.
Have an impact like that.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes long term as well, because it's obviously it's still very new with this fashion challenge which you've created. So over the course of maybe a year, there could be some serious stones lost, or kilograms or pounds or whatever you measure people in. So, and that's cool, man. It's really nice to see that you've transformed it not into just a personal thing, but into a business where it helps others as well. So it does give you a purpose. It gives you something to get up in and to go for every single day, rather than just for you. You're doing it for other people as well. So that's cool, man. But there might be people that look at you and think, unattainable. This guy's cutting about 9%. He's in Bali. He's completed Tinder. He's cutting about all these Russian models and living his best life. That guy is living a completely unattainable life. I ain't getting in this fasting thing because I ain't ever going to look like that. I've tried diets before. I've tried the gym before. Intermittent fasting ain't going to work. What would you say to people that might look at you and think it's completely unattainable to look like that guy, or be like that guy, or live like that guy? Because there's obviously going to be doubters for sure, man.
I mean, honestly, this is something that I first off, thank you for all of that. That was embarrassing and amazing. Thank you. But
I'll say that at your wedding if you want. I can be your wedding.
Oh, perfect.
Wedding speech.
Perfect. Which one? Which wedding?
There'll be several, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, there will only be one. But yeah. I mean, it is. I would say that I would have probably looked at myself and said the same thing back whenever I was in the Philippines when that picture was taken, which wasn't even the heaviest I got, but it's just the only photo I have from that. But I would have looked at myself at this point and thought, that guy doesn't have any fun. He just counts calories every single day. He is on this strict diet. He works out 2 times a day, 6 to 7 days a week. And that is just not, you know me, that's not the case. I'm definitely a changed person, but I work out 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. When I do, though, I go in with purpose. I work out hard for 45 minutes. And then I eat fairly what I want. I just kind of strategize when I'm having my worst meals to my better meals, my healthier meals. And, but yeah, I don't think, it's hard for me to put into words now. That's why I'm so happy to have clients that I can show, like, hey, this guy that I was just telling you about that's lost like 20, 25 pounds, I'll be able to show his before and after, show his reviews and go, look, here you go. This is somebody.
So they are showing that it is an attainable goal.
Yeah, you can see this is attainable. You can see this is relatable. I would have 100% looked at myself and gone, if I told somebody that I eat whatever I want and I only work out 3 to 4 times a week, I would have gone, bullshit. You're obsessed with fitness. You're obsessed with nutrition. You don't have any fun. And it's just not the case. So making someone believe that is a different scenario. But I will say this. As long as you're willing to put in the time and you're okay with it being a lifestyle, this wasn't, a 3-month miracle for me. This was over 2 years. I could have definitely done it faster if I knew what I knew in the past 8 months. Now that I know, I could have done it much faster. But I took 2 years and I got comfortable with fasting. I got comfortable with slowly getting into, again, walking every day. And now I've just started doing the gym in the past year.
Yeah.
Like going consistently. Like this is something that it was truly a change in mentality for me, and it's not something that's unattainable by any means.
Yeah.
It's, in fact, the more that I continue to coach people and the more that I continue to teach people, I find that it's more attainable than I even had ever thought. Like for me, I was like, maybe I'm an outlier. Maybe it's just genetics. Trust me, I genetically never had abs. Nobody in my family has abs. We're all fairly athletic, bigger guys, but we've got like the baby pouch that does not go away. We've got everything. That is something that I thought, oh, I can just genetically never look like these guys on magazines. I can never look like that. And it is something that I'm finding it is easier for some people than others, but it's not improbable for anyone.
Yeah.
And there are some guys that I've been working with that are guys and girls. I keep saying guys just as a generality, but there are some girls that I've worked with as well that continue to amaze themselves. Like the woman who said, I never thought I was going to see the scale go down. Like a nurse that I worked with in my last session that really was just like, all I need to do, if I lose 5 pounds, I'll be happy. And whatever, she ended up losing 10 pounds. And now she's like, okay, if I keep going, do you think I could train for like a fitness competition? And I was like, what? She never even considered this.
Yeah.
And so the more that I see it is once you get your mentality right, and once you can kind of change the way that you see yourself, it's kind of like that money mentality. When people think that they can make a certain amount or whatever, they're drawn to it. Once you can believe that you can achieve this goal, or that your body can look a certain way, or that you can do a certain thing, then it's just taking action.
Yeah.
Because you can think it, but without action, it's nothing. So
there needs to be an element of manifestation in there as well.
Yeah. So I think that it just takes people a little while to believe, but once they start seeing it, it's just this downhill tumble of like almost a snowball, like you know, where you see the snowman getting bigger and bigger. It's just like, I can do this. Oh shit, I can really do this. Or smaller and smaller.
Yeah, they're losing weight.
Smaller, yeah. Yeah, obviously,
I
bad
get
analogy, good analogy. Yeah. But yeah, I think that even though the end goal, it's the Steve Jobs thing, never judge your, or the Jeff Bezos, that meme that's like, never judge your start to somebody else's beginning or end or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like the picture of Jeff Bezos having like a shitty, like hand painted Amazon sign above his like crappy desk.
Yeah.
And he's looks like absolute trash.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
And then it's like, never judge your start to somebody else's end or whatever.
Yeah, I get it. I think it's probably worded differently, but I get it.
Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, if you look at me and you think, oh, I could never get there, well, that wasn't my start.
Yeah.
Go back and look at the pictures. Know that it took me a year to lose those first 2 stones, and then after that,
Jace wasn't built in a day.
Jace was not built in a day. That's a bad accent. Whoa.
Like that? Was that meant to be Scottish?
Jace. Well,
no, that's Australian.
Jace.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Your Scottish accent's usually better than that. I'm surprised.
That's because
stage fright.
I think it's the camera and the microphone.
Well, listen, you're not that shy in front of the camera these days. Sometimes when I look at your Instagram, I don't know if I'm looking at Instagram or Pornhub or OnlyFans. Have you ever, you're starting to wear a lot less clothes. The more muscles you gain, the less clothes you start to wear. Have you ever considered an OnlyFans?
Yeah. You know, if this podcast gets 1,000 shares,
okay,
there will be an OnlyFans. There will be an OnlyFans created.
Love it.
But no, yeah, I would say, of course, I've always been pretty confident in my body, even before losing weight. But now it is something that it is something that I've noticed helps to get exposure for clients. Okay. Not so much as being naked or whatever, but you know, I mean, people want to see that, like, hey, okay, I want to learn from the guy. Like, he has abs. how'd you get those? Because you didn't used to have these.
Swipe up and pay $9.99.
Boom, $9.99. That's a good. It's a good price.
There
We
you
have,
go.
we have a discount for this. Yeah, but no, it's yeah. I mean, it is something that
Discount code in the description.
There we go.
Jamie20.
Jamie 20.
Yep.
Do I have to give you a commission for this?
Yep.
That sounds good. That's good, man. I'm into it. I love it. Yeah, no, I would say OnlyFans. I mean, dude, some of these girls on OnlyFans are making so much money. Like, I've got some friends that are girls on OnlyFans, and it's like, I think as a boyfriend, I used to always think, I was like, oh, I wouldn't want my girlfriend to do OnlyFans or like, porn or whatever. And then I heard about like how much money some of these girls are making, and I was like,
wait a minute.
I was like, hold on a second. I was like starting to think about investments, and I was like, what you could do with this money, and I was like, this is far more than I expected.
Done a few projections.
Yeah, I
Got
did.
the
I was
graphs.
like,
Number
yeah.
crunching.
I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, my girlfriend's gonna need a photographer, and if I could put myself out there to do it. So
you would consider it?
yeah, OnlyFans is something that I think, again, I have no problem with nudity. If you're choosing nudity, or if you're OnlyFans is a platform that a lot of people use it just as a subscription service. There's podcasts that use OnlyFans as a subscription payment. So, but as far as for the classic version of OnlyFans, what you're thinking, which is very scandalous, I would. I've definitely intrigued it in my mind, but I don't think it's something that.
We'll put it in the maybe pile for now.
We'll put it in the maybe pile. I would say it's something that
Watch your space.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think that I would.
Your mum wouldn't like that.
That's the main thing. Is I always gotta. There are other ways that I could make money.
Yeah. Let's just stick with the fasting for now. I think.
It's pretty well. I think it's a more fulfilling way for me to create, and not only just an impact on people, but to create an income.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, cool. Now, you also shared a story recently. We'll go back to being a little bit more serious. You shared a story on your Instagram recently where you actually shed a tear. You got a bit emotional, which is really nice to see. Obviously, in this day and age, we're all talking about mental health, especially within males, and showing your emotions. That was quite a big deal for you to share. You having a personal moment on the beach and shedding a tear. Now, what brought on the tears? You'd reached a goal. Did you expect to cry at that point? And I mean, how did you feel in that moment when you had the cry and you shared it in your story? Was it empowering or what?
Oh gosh, I went back and forth whether I should share that or not. I talked to my roommates about it, and I was just like, that was so. Basically, the backstory of that is that I hadn't been getting my body fat or anything checked, but my goal had always been like, I want to be around 185 pounds for like my body, and which changed. I actually used to want to be 200, under 200, but 185, and I wanted to be below 10% body fat. I wanted to get below 10% body fat because the pictures of the people that I saw that were below 10%, I was like, those are the bodies that I want.
Yeah.
And so I never really did that. And so I get my body fat and my my biometric testing done probably every 3 months. And so I hadn't done it in quite a while. And the last time I'd done it, I was at like 10.8. So I was like, ooh, maybe I'll be around 10. And I got it done, and it had said like 8 point something. And I just figured it was a false reading because when you're fasting, all the water can come out of your muscles and different things. I was like, okay, I'll go back in 2 days and I'll check it again. So I got it checked again, and it was like 8.5 or 8.7. And I was just like, I don't know. It just came over me.
Yeah.
It came over me, and so I held it in whenever I was at the place, and then I went to the beach, and I just sat down, and I was like, holy crap. So I was going to make a story just to be like, yeah, I can't believe, like, tell the story about what happened. And then I like tried to play it off and make a joke about it. Like, I was like, yeah, I almost started crying, like, ha ha ha. Like, and then right then I was tried to tell the story, and I was going to say like how proud I was of myself for hitting my goal. And I just immediately was like, ugh. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. I literally just was like, I truly felt proud of myself. And I had zero regrets. I had anything. And then I just started thinking, even though I was proud of myself, I wanted other people to feel that feeling, not just when you hit your final goal, but like during the process, because there are so many times that I wish that I would have stopped to celebrate during the process, not just like, and I did some, but yeah, that story was, I'm really glad I put it up. I had a huge response.
I can imagine.
From that. A lot of people responded that it touched them.
There's a lot of fucking fluff on Instagram.
There
now.
is.
So when you put up something as emotional as that, you're always going to get a great response, especially being a male.
Yeah.
A very well-maintained physical male. You know, so I think it's really important to see someone like you shedding a tear and speaking so openly about your emotions and how it made you feel, which is pretty cool, man. I was very proud of you.
Thanks. Yeah, man, I was proud of myself.
Yes.
I'm glad that you were. I think I said that in my story. I was like, I want you guys to know I hit this goal, but I was like, whether anybody was proud of me or not, which they were, but like, I was so freaking proud of myself.
Yeah.
I could not have imagined 2 years ago to not just be where I was physically, but emotionally, mentally, everything. Like, I could not have even considered, like how we were saying, like somebody else looks at me and goes, that's not attainable. 2 years ago, I would have looked at me and thought, that's not attainable.
Yeah.
Emotionally, mentally, physically, I would have said, that's not attainable. So the fact that I did like hit this goal and that I'm mentally in the place that I am, it came over me, and it was something that kind of engulfed me for a little bit. And it was, as much as I hate when people are on their phones and cameras and all of that and living their life for social media, I was so lucky that I had pressed record just to make a joke about this, so that I could capture this moment and share it with other people who might be going through the same mental struggle or physical struggles, because it was definitely a beautiful moment for me. And then I just sat there and recovered and was like, and just,
it's probably quite therapeutic for you actually to record that and share it as well.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's nice, man. Again, I'm very proud of you. You've come a long way. I've seen the transformation, because I think I first met you 3 years ago at a party, of course, whilst drinking, of course. So you've come a long way, man. It's really cool.
Dude, not just me. You.
Yeah,
You've. I mean, I think I know that you're here talking to me on the podcast, but I mean, I and everybody else have seen your growth. I mean, the fact that, I mean, I know that, you know, Ivanka can't be here right now, and it's just like crazy to see you as an individual be forced into a place that you are dealing with your mental health because of loneliness, and finding purpose in whether it's the podcast or website or other projects you have going. I mean, it has been inspiring for many people, not just, I think it's easy for me because, again, you can see the physical transformation.
Yeah.
But watching a person's mental transformation is just as powerful. Just most people can't see it.
Yeah.
And dude, it's been awe-inspiring to
appreciate that, man.
Be there around.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's really nice. Maybe I'll start crying now.
Yeah, exactly. I would help. I won't make fun of you until after it's done.
Man. I'm very comfortable with being emotional. I've done it many a time, especially on the stories. So, no, man, thank you. That really means a lot to me. Obviously, you look the way you look. You feel the way you feel. You have come a long, long way. You've reached your target goals. When you wake up in the morning now, what motivates you once you've reached the end? Why do you get up in the morning now? What is your purpose? Is it hard to maintain that motivation, or?
Yeah, well, so I think the big thing again for me was it wasn't a diet.
Yeah.
It wasn't a diet. I truly wanted to find something lifestyle-wise that I could change. If I was counting macros or doing something that was that I felt unnatural doing, intermittent fasting feels extremely natural to me. So as far as the fasting goes, that's not something that I have to be driven for at all. And I can do this. I could do it, and I could do it to the extremes, or I could do it a little less. And that I feel extremely comfortable. Today, I'm choosing to do my extended fast because I wanted to do it. I get mental clarity from these fasts, and so like I wanted to do the podcast on my best game. I literally thought to myself, when am I the most clear?
Yeah, because we postponed this a few times.
Yeah,
both of us.
Yeah,
we've both been guilty of that. So that's you understand that.
So every morning when I wake up, the fasting part, That's really not difficult. Now, going to work out, all these things, I think a huge thing for me currently, of course, I want to maintain physical health. I want to do what's right for my body, but it's a mindset shift of going to the gym. I'm not a huge gym fan, honestly, but it's a mindset shift that I thought, it's like going to work every single day. Nobody wants to get up and go to a shitty 9-to-5 job in the morning that you're not happy at. But you get up because you have to. You get up because you do it. I just told myself, hey, I'm going to treat this gym like a job. It is something that I'm going to schedule in my calendar, and I'm going to go do it. It is not something that I can just, I don't feel like going to work today. No, you can't. If you're sick, you have to call in sick. You only get so many of those days per year, and you're not getting paid for that day. For me, there's no calling out of going to the gym those days. I make that just like work. I have to make it a priority, and I don't skip it. I don't go out of it.
Yeah.
So just, if you don't give yourself an out ever, it's amazing the things you'll get done.
So that's what motivates you then.
That's kind of what motivates. Hey, it's just like, stay focused, do it.
Yeah.
Do it, because I know that if I don't do this, then I'm the next thing. I'm not going to do the next thing.
Yeah.
So I don't allow myself that slippery slope of going down that path.
It makes sense, man. It's good that you maintain that motivation even though you've reached your goals. Now, I'm just looking at these clouds behind us, man. And it's getting a bit dark.
Yeah,
I feel like a storm is coming. We're in the rainy season here in Bali, and I think it is getting a wee bit dark. So
I think you're gonna have to edit this. Video.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dark over there.
It's getting a little dark up there. Pretty soon, people are gonna be like, "Are you guys out in the woods? Just pitch black?"
Yeah, hopefully, I can recover this in the editing software. So I think we should wrap this up very shortly. But before we do, we've obviously covered a whole lot about intermittent fasting, your business and stuff like that. Where can people find out more about you and what you do? Very quickly.
Yeah, well, we have literally, first off, the overall, we have literally just touched on the like broad strokes of intermittent fasting, kind of more of my story. I would say, as far as for intermittent fasting, don't feel like you have to have a coach. For anybody who's out there interested, Jamie, you said you're intermittent fasting, you lose weight. There's a bunch. I didn't have a coach whenever I did. Do not feel like you need that. It's just the difference. I always tell people, I compare it to going to the gym. You don't need a personal trainer to go to the gym. You just go. If you haven't been active, go get active. Go outside. Go walk. Go to the gym and walk on the treadmill. Start doing something. Ask some people for some advice. But the people that have the most success tend to be the people, if you do get a personal trainer, you're going to make those results happen exponentially faster.
Yeah.
The same thing with me. I just help people get the most from their intermittent fasting, as far as get the most benefit and to optimize those eating and fasting windows, letting them know when to work out, when to eat, when not to eat around their thing. So if you want all those tips, you can find me on Instagram at forever_foreigners, or you can find the official fasting challenge page, which is at fasting challenge.
Okay. That's cool. I'll be sure, obviously, to include these in the description on the website and on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere else, so people can find you. Because I'm sure there'll be more people who are maybe intrigued and want to find out more. So hopefully you'll get some DMs from this at least.
If not, I've had a lot of fun.
Yes, it's been good, man.
And we are gonna continue to do many of these talks, whether it's on the podcast or not.
Absolutely, man.
I always love our talks, man.
You will always be welcome on this podcast. And thanks very much for your time, man. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this has been a wee podcast for big subjects and personalities with a touch of Scottish humour. Cheers, my man. Cheers. Take it easy.
You too.